Hi, I'm Dr. Duke, and this is Run Smart New York. This is Caitlin, local triathlete, part of the Empire Tri Club. She's here helping me today. This is part one of a mini-series that I'm calling Being Hip. And what we're talking about is healthy hip function, because if you don't have healthy hip function, then you're not going to be able to channel all that strength from your core into your running style. Now, one of the biggest problems that I see, especially in the urban area of Manhattan, New York City, is that people go for a run in the morning, and then they quickly shower and they change and they go to the office and they do what? Thank you, Caitlin. They sit all day. Now your body begins to mold into the postures that it spends most of the time in. So you may have ran for like, say, an hour or an hour and a half if you're really building your endurance in the morning. However, when you go to the office, generally people sit anywhere between 8 and 10 hours a day. So what happens, thank you, is that the hip flexors begin to shorten, and then the opposite muscles, the glutes, begin to weaken. So I'm going to teach you a few things that I want you to do throughout the course of your workday. Very simple. Number one, when you sit on the edge of the chair, every once in a while, and squeeze your glutes to kind of rise up in the air. Did you see her do that? Drop it down again. Squeeze it again. It's so easy, but we never do it. So when you're sitting in the chair, I want you to squeeze your glutes and then relax it and do like 10 of them in a row. Next thing that I want to do, stand up for me, turn the chair. I want everyone to see this. Sit again, cross your ankle, and let's get the hip mobile. Start pushing it up and down. That's right. Because as soon as you start to sit, it cramps up, it stops the lymphatic system from cleaning out all the lactic acid that builds up in your body. Let's start getting the joints lubricated when you're back in the office again. Then take your leg, grab it, pull it towards the opposite shoulder. You should feel a nice stretch to the outer part of the hip. Point to where you're feeling that stretch. That's right. Yeah, those are the hip rotators, the piriformis for one, but all the hip rotators. So those are 3 simple things you could do while you're in the office. Next, stand up for me. How about do a simple stretch? We gotta stretch out those hip flexors. Go ahead, lunge in, and don't bounce, but look how nice and stretched out this area is. You can take your hand, if you're cool with it in the office, raise your arm up in the air, and just stretch over to the side a little bit more. Maybe do a posterior tilt to the pelvis. See how she tucked her glutes under? That gives an exaggerated stretch to the front of the quads all the way down, and it also targets the top of the hip in the front here. Lastly, let's try this. Thanks, Caitlin. Turn and face me. Try a Romanian lunge, where you kind of put your foot up on your chair, get stable, nice lunge forward. Now we're becoming a little more functional, working on balance. Put your arms behind your head, and now lift your torso up in the air. Maybe tilt to the side to try to get the lats and the quadratus lumborum and the psoas. And now rotate. I'm Dr. Duke, and this is Run Smart New York. Join me for part 2 when I go over some strength training in order to maintain healthy hip function.